Buddy Holly was born in Lubbock, Texas during the Great Depression, and he had a few older siblings who all played music. They were a good bit older than him, so they really were able to teach him and mentor him and get him on his road to success at a young age. And he was already playing on TV by the time he was 15. And he and his siblings were all influenced by the country musicians at the time, Hank Williams, Hank Snow, the Carter family, and that was the style they played and wrote in. And his older brothers went off to World War II, and when they came back, one of his brothers had acquired a guitar overseas, and from then on, Buddy insisted that that's the instrument he wanted to play. And Buddy would form bands with his friends playing country and a little bit of R&B because they would listen to the late night radio, which at the time meant when all the local radio stations were turned off for the evening, you could hear these distant radio stations that played other kinds of music, and he and his friends would stay up late sitting in the car listening to the R&B that was played on the distant radio stations, which they loved, and it really influenced their music. And Buddy started writing songs with R&B chord progressions and rhythms that he mixed with his country music, and formed a band called the Crickets that was largely successful and got signed and traveled a lot, played a lot. And by 1959 they were playing this huge festival with a lot of other musicians called the Winter Dance Party, and they had to get to all of these gigs one after another, and a lot of musicians were in the same position. And it was really cold. They were traveling through the Midwest on a bus with no heat, and at one point his drummer got frostbite, had to get hospitalized just from being on that freezing cold bus so long. And so after this late night show they played in Iowa, Buddy decided last minute that he was going to charter a private plane, and it just had a few seats on it. At that time, Waylon Jennings was playing bass for the Crickets, but he decided to give up his seat to the Big Bopper, who was complaining that he couldn't ride on the bus anymore. He's too big, too old, uncomfortable. And Tommy Alsop flipped a coin with Richie Valens for the other seat. And so those guys got on the plane, and it ended up crashing really soon after taking off, just in the middle of Iowa. And it instantly killed Buddy Holly, who was only 22, Richie Valens, who was 17, and the Big Bopper, and the pilot. And Don McLean writes in his song American Pie about the day the music died. He's referring to when he found out that Buddy Holly died, because that was such a huge hero of his at the time. And they were so famous that unfortunately Buddy Holly's wife and mother heard about it first on the radio and TV, and weren't even told in a careful way about their loved one. And so that actually led to policies about when a famous person dies to not announce it publicly before carefully informing the family first. And he was only 22, but he had recorded so prolifically in his short period of time that his label was still able to release Buddy Holly albums for the next 10 years after his death. And he was like this magical rock and roll angel just visiting Earth for a short time and influencing very influential people who went on to really form rock and roll to be what it was. Elvis cited him as a major influence, and Elton John said that when he was 13, he was such a big Buddy Holly fan that that's why he started wearing the kind of special glasses that he's still famous for. John Lennon and Paul McCartney, when they were first forming a band, were basically making a Buddy Holly cover band. They were studying all of his songs and styles and writing, emulating after him, and called it the Beatles, kind of as a twist on the Crickets. Bob Dylan actually went to one of those Winter Dance Party shows and saw Buddy Holly and was extremely moved and influenced by him, actually 2 days before Buddy Holly's death. Mick Jagger and Keith Richards of the Rolling Stones said they based their guitar playing off Buddy Holly's, especially in his song Not Fade Away that has like the Bo Diddley kind of beat. And Eric Clapton says the first album he ever owned was a Crickets album, and it made him want to play the guitar. The Grateful Dead covers him. The band Weezer has that song just like Buddy Holly about how influenced they were by him. So just for decades and decades, so many very influential rock and roll musicians were completely emulating Buddy Holly. And I first became familiar with him because I was a Don McLean fan when I was younger, and he covered a lot of Buddy Holly songs, namely the song Every Day, which I will play for you.